Welcome to another Airbrush Asylum video. In this video I'm going to utilize this AirShot stencil. You can see it's got a nice negative, another positive template, another positive to mask up the clown when it's complete, and then another one here to work on the forehead. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to start with this negative template first. I'm going to lay down a bit of a base color. I've decided to do the hair in a green, this part here, so the collar area, in a purple, obviously red nose, green eyes I'm going to do, and then white face makeup. So I'm going to start off with making sure that I've got it the right way. So this template comes with some stars cut out on the edges, the registration marks, so that you can line it up and you know where you're going with it. So that all looks pretty good to me. Okay, so using a bit of spray adhesive to affix it to the canvas. So I'm just using this particular spray adhesive at the moment, the Micador or Micador spray adhesive. Just spray it a little bit on there, letting that dry for a bit, and just wait till it gets a bit tacky. There's probably not enough on there at the moment, so you want enough tackiness there so that it holds itself into place on the canvas. Obviously, because the canvas is not a flat surface, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult to adhere, but let's go ahead and put it into place. That's pretty good now. Pretty much center it by eye, that'll do. Okay, so we've obviously got these areas that are still exposed. We want to cover them up now. Okay, you can see the template's hanging over the edge here, so this part of the ruffled collar is not going to show up, but that's okay. Might just put one more piece of masking tape along the top to protect the top of the canvas. Can never be too safe. Overspray has a tendency to travel. Not that it's the end of the world if it does. So even if I get a bit of bleed through underneath, isn't going to be a huge issue because it's on a black background, and I can always come back and use this template to mask back over it. Alright, so let's start off with our first colour. Okay, so the first colour that I'm going to lay down is actually a Payne's Grey. The reason for this will become a bit more obvious later on. So this is a Trident colour. Just spray a nice even coat on the negative part of that template. Give it a couple of coats to get some coverage. Okay, so now I'm going to use this light green, spray in the hair. You can use any colours that you like. Doesn't have to be these exact tones. Now, I'm going to let the overspray travel a little bit over here. I'm not too worried about that. You'll see why in a minute. I just want to get nice coverage on the hair. Now this light green has white mixed into it, hence why it's got really good coverage. It's obviously a transparent colour over a dark colour like this grey would then just blend, it wouldn't stand on top. I want it to stand on top and create a nice base for my green, and then I can further shade it later with some transparency. So whenever you're putting white in a colour, obviously it'll make it a bit more pastel-y, but it also makes it transparent, which is what we're going for. The next colour I'm going to use is this violet, so just a light violet. Again, it's mixed with white. What I want to do is just flat tone in this area here, which is basically where the collar, that ruffled collar will be. So I'm going to just hold the template so that I get a bit of an idea. Now I've covered my rego marks, but at the moment I'm okay with just sort of roughly holding that into place and just giving me a bit of an indication of where I'm going with it. So that's enough. Probably don't see it on camera, but there is a very, very slight line there. So that will just give me the indication of where I've got to go. And again, I'm going to flat tone this in. Okay, just continuing with that violet, just flat toning in that base colour. Just put your finger on the edge if the template starts to lift a bit. Okay, so what I want to do now is expose some of these registration marks. I'm going to line up another template. May as well get them all prepped. So let's do this. Okay, like so. Alright, I'm just going to line this template up here. You'll see why in a minute. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, I'm just going to hold that into place. I'm going to spray some white here on the highlight, as well as a light dusting around here. Like so. And that's going to show me roughly where the red of the nose needs to go. Okay, before I put the white away, just reline that up. I forgot to spray in an indication of where the red of the mouth is going to go. So I reckon we'll go with this mark here, around there. Now the stencil's pretty much a guide. You can tweak it to your liking, which I will do as the artwork goes on. But at least now I've got an indication. So switching to red now, I'm going to flat tone the area of the nose. Now I'm not too worried about coming out over my edge. And again, you'll notice why in a minute. Now, if you don't have a opaque red, like the one I'm using at the moment, then you'd need to put a white base down first. You don't want to mix in white into the red, because otherwise it's going to go pink. Which may be okay, depending on what kind of clown you want to paint. But for this particular purpose, I want a pretty mean looking clown. So we definitely don't want a pink nose. Alright, so the red on the nose is done. Now I'm going to do the same procedure for the lips. Just chase around the outside edge first. You can see I'm being pretty rough with this. Everything will get tweaked and finalised later. This is just to get these colours in. I can let my overspray travel a bit. It's not going to be that much of an issue. Okay, so now using this positive template, I'm going to line it back up. I have sprayed the back with some spray adhesive, so it's nice and tacky. It'll hold into place. Before I fit it into place and start to spray, I'm just going to check to see if I've put enough red down on the nose and the mouth, on the lips, should I say. It looks pretty good. I think I can come out a little bit more on this side. And the lips are all pretty good, I think. Alright, so I'm just going to hit that side a little bit more. This is why it's a good idea to check. I mean, it could be fixed if you missed it, but may as well get it now. Just going to make life a bit easier. Alright, spray. I'm just going to Make the lips a bit bigger anyway, just to be safe. Alright, so let's go ahead and line this up properly now. Press it down. I think you can probably guess what's going to happen now. So now that we've got our positive template, you can see the bits that are cut out. I'm going to spray white over them now, and that's going to give us our base for the makeup. It's also going to eliminate some of these areas of overspray. Obviously, we're not just going to spray through this and leave it. I'm going to further render it with shading and extra highlights and texturing and all that as I go on. But at least you'll get an understanding of how to clean up those edges of the overspray created by the colours that are sprayed. Okay, I spray very lightly through these ones. I think our canvas is, there we go. Make sure that I'm keeping that flat. You obviously don't have to do this on a canvas, any surface will work. And these templates are reusable as well. And they're also solvent proof, so you can clean them off if you are using automotive paints. So the best way to clean off water-based paints off these templates is by using a window cleaner with ammonia in it. That will just strip through the paint no problem. So I'm just going to come in and brighten up these eyes and quickly spray them in with some green. Now let's unmask it and have a look at what Clown's looking like so far. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to hit this area a little bit more. Okay, let's check that out. So carefully remove the template, and you can already see we've got that nice clown look straight off the bat. So I'm going to leave this negative template on for the moment, but this has given us a nice basis to begin to really render this artwork now. You can also really see why I've used the Payne's Grey to start with. It's given me that nice mid-tone, so that way I can still add some shading to it as well as highlights, and it's not just completely black already. So that's it for part 1 of this 3-part tutorial. Be sure to check out part 2. Also take a look at some of the other videos and playlists that I've got listed here. Lots of different tutorials and tips for anyone that's into airbrushing. And if you haven't already, feel free to hit subscribe, tap on that bell icon, that'll notify you every time I put out new content. Until next time, go grab your airbrush, do some amazing artwork yourself, and I'll see you again very, very soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.